रजांसि भूमेर्गणयेत् कथञ्चित् कालेन नैवाखिलशक्तिधाम्नः। श्रीद्रुमिल उवाच यो वा अनन्तस्य गुणानन्तान् अनुक्रमिष्या स तु बालबुद्धिः। रजांसि भूमेर्गणयेत् कथञ्चित् कालेन नैवाखिलशक्तिधाम्नः। श्रीद्रुमिल उवाच यो वा अनन्तस्य गुणानन्तान् अनुक्रमिष्यान् स तु बालबुद्धिः। रजांसि भूमेर्गणयेत् कथञ्चित् कालेन नैवाखिलशक्तिधाम्नः। वैष्णवीस्। श्रीद्रुमिल उवाच यो वा अनन्तस्य गुणानन्तान् अनुक्रमिष्यान् स तु बालबुद्धिः। रजांसि भूमेर्गणयेत् कथञ्चित् कालेन नैवाखिलशक्तिधाम्नः। Word-to-word translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, His disciples ki jai. Sri Drumilaha Uvacha. Sri Drumila said, Yaha, who, why, indeed, Anantasya, of the unlimited Lord, Gunan, the transcendental qualities, Anantan, which are unlimited, Anukramishyan, trying to enumerate, Saha, he, tu, certainly, Bala Buddhi, is a person of childish intelligence. Rajamsi, the particles of dust, Bhumi, on the earth, Ganayet, one may count, Kathanchit, somehow, Kalena, in time, Naeva, but not, Akhila Sakti Dhamnaha, the qualities of the reservoir of all potencies. Translation. Sri Drumila said, anyone trying to enumerate or describe fully the unlimited qualities of the unlimited Supreme Lord has the intelligence of a foolish child. Even if a great genius could somehow or other, after a time-consuming endeavor, count all the particles of dust on the surface of the earth, such a genius could never count the attractive qualities of the personality of Godhead, who is the reservoir of all potencies. In reply to King Nimi's request that the Nava Yogendras describe all the qualities and pastimes of the Lord, Sri Drumila here explains that only the most foolish person would even attempt such a comprehensive description of the unlimited qualities and pastimes of the personality of Godhead. Such foolish, childish persons, however, are far more advanced than ignorant, materialistic scientists who actually try to describe all knowledge without even referring to this personality of Godhead. In other words, although it is impossible to describe the Lord fully, foolish atheistic scientists attempt to describe all knowledge without even having reached the most preliminary knowledge of the personality of Godhead. Such atheistic persons should be understood to be short-sighted and are of very weak intelligence, despite their showy material achievements, which ultimately end in great suffering and destruction. It is said that Lord Anantadev himself, with his innumerable tongues, cannot even begin to vibrate completely the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Repeat. It is said that Lord Anantadev himself, with his innumerable tongues, cannot even begin to vibrate completely the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The example given in this verse is very nice. No human being can hope to count the number of particles on the surface of the earth. Therefore, no one should foolishly try to understand the Supreme Lord by his own tiny endeavor. One should submissively hear knowledge of God as it is spoken by God himself in Bhagavad Gita, and thus one should gradually be elevated to the stage of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. According to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by tasting a drop of sea water, one can get a general idea of the flavor of the entire ocean. Similarly, by submissively hearing about the personality of Godhead, one can acquire a qualitative understanding of the absolute truth, although quantitatively one's knowledge can never be complete. Thus ends the purport. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Nilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayang Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shwapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaur Tishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Taruvyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnamebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripa tamaham bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Hare Krishna. So this is a very nice verse, beginning of one of the Navayogendra, mentioned here Drumila, explaining about the pastimes of the Lord. Just like we may give a currency note or a 2000 rupees note to a child, what the child will understand. Right? Yes. These childs will understand. They are devotee's child. A small child who doesn't even know the value of 2000 rupees. So, until unless someone comes and explains to the child the real value of the 2000 rupees and actually shows him through his example that what all things you can purchase without 2000 rupees, right? I remember I had gone to Harshit Prabhu's home and he had his small bhanja, a small boy, Madhav. And I told him, Madhav, today we will go for taking chocolates, because his father, mother both had passed away. So the situation in house was very gloomy. So I thought that, we'll do something so that, people try to forget the trauma. So I took Madhav and I was catching so much of chocolates. Like I thought I'll pack everything. And this boy was so nice. Said, no, I just want one. And for Brinda, his younger sister, one more. That's why I'm satisfied. I said, if I become so satisfied in bhakti, that's so nice. But then he was thinking, if I take so many chocolates, then it will cost a lot. And he was feeling afraid. Maybe his mother had said to him, do hi chocolate leke aana, whatever it is. But then I got so much of chocolates and I pay only 15 rupees. So much of big chocolates. So the child doesn't understand how many chocolates, how many things. He's least bothered about how much money and everything. And you give him a 2000 rupees note, he doesn't even know how many chocolates he can get with all this 2000 rupees note. Unless someone really explains to him, right? So exactly in the same way, this verse and purport explains a very interesting thing about the intelligence of a foolish child, right? So today we will see different examples of foolish child in this creation and how we should become an intelligent child and not an intelligently foolish child, as all of us are. Okay? So we will see today all Bala Buddhi. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Bala and Bala. Bala Buddhi. So the intelligence of a foolish child. So the first level of foolish child, which is the lowest category as explained in the purport, is a scientist. They're incorrigible. Incorrigible, a word means that they just don't want to change. Fully adamant. You explain them so many things they don't want to change. So many theories have come. If one theory gets disproved, then immediately the person who has written a theory and the person who has read the theories should think, I think we are in wrong path, right? But the Big Bang theory, Darwin theory, theory of everything, strings theory, so many theories about origin of creation, everything has fallacies, but still the scientists are thinking we will create a theory which will not be fallible. Just imagine. They're doing a lot of research. I remember in class 7, my sister went to Bachelor's of Arts and took anthropology. And she brought the books of anthropology. All the books, all the human beings were standing naked. One was standing like this. And have you seen books like from a hunchback man to a big man, and all are naked. And I was thinking, what is this naked man picture my sister is studying? My sister? Now we are born in Jagannath Puri. We worship Jagannath as a supreme lord and everything. But just see the power of the association of these dangerous scientists. My sister said, no, this is Darwin's theory of evolution. For the first time I heard, what is this Darwin theory of evolution? I was in 7th class. Then my sister started telling about crossover, mutation, and primordial soup, and all these technical words. And finally telling that we evolved from monkeys. I said, we evolved from monkeys? I said, Vishnu created everything. Brahma created everything. What you are telling? We evolved from... You are a child. My sister said, I am a child because I believed that Vishnu and Brahma created everything, and she believes that the primordial soup created everything based on Darwin's theory. And I was so frustrated. Then there was a fight, so much of fight between my sister and myself. And the fight was all centered around how Darwin's theory is wrong and God is there. And my sister was telling, no, there is organic evolution, inorganic evolution, what not? I was not interested in biology, but I became serious in studying biology to prove Darwin theory wrong. In 10th class, I remember when a lot of TV channels had come, when I was declared topper, and also in the 12th class. So they asked me, what do you want to do in life? I said, I want to be a genetics engineer to prove Darwin theory wrong through crossover mutation. And I had taken engineering, means the mathematics and not biology, but I had more knowledge about genetics than any biological student of biology. But then when I came to IIT, there was one devotee, what is his name? John Deere Prabhuji, Pandey. Huh? Vishal Pandey Prabhu. I don't know his Vidwan Garan. So he came to my room and gave this discover yourself. So I was from childhood very fascinated about becoming monk. That was the goal of my life. And the book picture in the end was Radheshyam Prabhu standing like this with all the devotees, and he was the monk. So wow, this is what I was searching for. And then in the appendix I read, and I read about how, how Discover Yourself explains about all these things. Then I thought, this is useless endeavor to disprove this scientist. Already it's a useless matter. This has no base. So somehow Radheshyam Prabhu saved me from doing the useless endeavor of disproving the incorrigible, foolish scientist. Like imagine the child here, the child is telling this temple is not ISKCON temple. This is Gaudiya Math, this child says. Who cares? Any one of you will come and debate with the child, and no, we will debate. This is ISKCON, not Gaudiya Math. Who cares? So these scientists, these foolish scientists, are so foolish that it is useless, waste of time, as it is explained here in this purport, to debate with them, discuss with them, and prove that how God exists. Right? I was just thinking today morning that how by mercy of devotees we are a particle and we should search for God, right? But the scientists think themselves as God and searching for the God particle. I'll repeat, we are particle, Jivatma, and our goal of life is to search for God in our every endeavor. But scientists are so incorrigible, they think they are God and they are searching for the God particle. What nonsense is this? So in this way, the lowest level of incorrigible, foolish, childish people are the scientists, atheistic scientists. And then beyond that, there are indifferent people who come to temple or who will go by the side of the temple, do like this. I remember in the Albert Road, from the top of the balcony, you can see down all the people who will pass by. They don't have even 2 minutes to come up. It's in the first floor. And they will look at the first floor, they will do something, some signals they will do and go away. Right? Indifferent. Right? And at least they are looking at the temple. Right? They're not looking at the Cashel corner and all those things of near Albert Road. They're at least looking at the temple. But these are all indifferent people. Like you will see in Sialda, when you go for book distribution, you will be doing so big kirtan and people will not even look at you. They're just indifferent going. Right? So these are all indifferent child. They don't even understand what is the purpose of life. They're just going on like animals, right? But then a person, after coming to Krishna consciousness or coming to understand the goal of life as something higher, he comes and understands that there is God. But then, the understanding of God as explained in this verse, we can read the purport again, that it is so difficult that Drumila, who is one of the Nava Yogendra, he is explaining that it is foolishness to start explaining about God. Right? Who is Drumila? He is telling that I cannot explain about God. So an ignorant person, so the third level, so the first one is the incorrigible scientist, who are atheist. The higher than that are indifferent people who know that there is God. They come to God only when there is a sense of duty or some danger like that. The higher category are the people who are spiritually interested. They know there is some God, but they don't have knowledge about God. In this connection, we will describe a story that comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Very nice story. So in the Antalila, the chapter 5, there is a beautiful story of Bhagavan Acharya. Bhagavan Acharya is one Gopa in spiritual world. He is a very close associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would love to eat in the house of Bhagavan Acharya. We know the story of Chota Haridas. That happened in the house of Bhagavan Acharya when Lord Chaitanya was eating prasadam. Bhagavan Acharya used to invite Lord Chaitanya for lunch many times in a month. And Lord would very happily eat in the house of Bhagavan Acharya. So one day, Bhagavan Acharya was basically from Bengal. And one day, one Bengali poet came from Bengal to Jagannath Puri. This Bengali poet was knowing Bhagavan Acharya. He was a very good poet. And he came to Jagannath Puri and he stayed in the house of Bhagavan Acharya. And he had written a poem on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as his intention was to recite the poem that he had written on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then you cannot go directly to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he thought that Bhagavan is my friend. Jai Shri Nitai Gauranga Bhagavan ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So Bhagavan is my friend. I should go and stay in his house. And if I stay in his house, I will ask Bhagavan, I want to go and recite my poem in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Bhagavan said, oh, let us hear. And then the poet started reciting. Bhagavan Acharya called some of other devotees of Lord Chaitanya from Puri in his house. And the poet recited that poem on Lord Chaitanya. When everyone heard the poem, wow, so nice poem, so nice poem. Everyone said, yes, we should take this poem to Lord Chaitanya, like that. And Bhagavan Acharya got inspired. He was also very happy with the poem. But the problem was that anything that you want to recite or speak in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it has to go through Swarup Damodar. Swarup Damodar was like the editor for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the real-time editor, not the book editor. So anyone wants to do anything, talk with Lord Chaitanya, speak anything to Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya would become very angry when there will be rasabhas. So then Bhagavan Acharya came and said, you know, a Bengali poet has come. He has mesmerized everyone with the poetry on Lord Chaitanya. Everyone at first was so happy. Please hear this once. Swarup Damodar was least bothered. He said, I didn't want to hear about these materialistic poets speaking about Lord Chaitanya. But then Bhagavan Acharya was telling, no. So this is Antyalila 5.101. Swarupa kahe tumi gopa parama udar. Je je sastra sunite ichha upaje tomar. So Swarup Damodar said, you are like a gopa and you want to hear anything and everything. I am not interested, but Krishna Leela varnite na jane se ichha. Okay. So Swarup Damodar said, it is very difficult to recite even Krishna Leela. What to speak of reciting Gaura Leela? And this Krishna Leela, Gaura Leela, no one can recite, no one can write until unless he has taken full shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then Bhagavan Acharya went away, little morose, his face was down. And again he was pushing Swarup Damodar. Every day he would come. You know how? By the push of Bhagavan Acharya, Swarup Damodar said, okay, let's hear. Let me hear first. Because he was pushing. And then Bhagavan Acharya invited Swarup Damodar to his home and all devotees to his home. The poet was already in his home. And then the recitation happened. So Swarup Damodar Goswami asked Bhagavan, the poet, the Bengali poet, tell the Nandi, tell the introductory verse. So we will recite the introductory verse together. So this is Chaitanya Charitamrit 5.1.1.12. Chaitanya Charitamrit Antalila 5.1.1.2. Vikacha Kamala Netre Shri Jagannatha Samye Kanakaruchira Ihatma Nyatmatamya Prapanna Prakriti Jadamasesha Chetayana Virashe Sadishatu Tava Bhapyam Krishna Chaitanya Devaha. When you hear this poetry, you feel, wow, kya chand hai, kya alankar hai, kya, what, wow, 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 right? And everyone was clapping, wow, wow, wow. And Swarup Damodar was least bothered. Swarup Damodar, we'll read the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has assumed a golden complexion and has become the soul of the body named Lord Jagannath, whose blooming lotus eyes are widely expanded. Thus he has appeared in Jagannath Puri and brought dull matter to life. May that Lord Sri Chaitanya Dev bestow all good fortune unto you. Wow! Wow! Right? And then Swarup Damodar, everyone was impressed. Except Swarup Damodar. He was so angry hearing this verse. He said, Are murkha apanara kaili sarvanas. You fool, you have done sarvanas to yourself. Duita isware toro nahika viswar. Jagannath is also Iswar and Lord Chaitanya is also Iswar, and you don't have faith on both of them as Iswar. Now, if you read the verse, you will not be able to understand. We will also be like the ignorant child. Wow, 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 wow. Because we are interested in meter, chanda, sloka, sur, dhun, and then we get baffled by that. Purnananda Chitswarupa Jagannatha Rai Tare Koili Jadanaswara Prakritya Kai. You foolish guy, Jagannath is not a body made of dull matter. He is the Supreme Lord. Like Padma Puran says, Arche Siladhi, that if we consider that the Lord is made of some wood, the Archa Vigraha is some wood or stone, then it is Narakya Buddhi. So this person, he explained that Lord Jagannath is wood and Lord Chaitanya is actually the soul, and now Lord Chaitanya has come to make the wood lively, that Jagannath lively, and that's why the entire Puri which was dull has become lively. And then again he says, Purna Sadasarya Chaitanya Swayam Bhagavan Tara Kaili Kshudra Jiva Spulinga Saman. You compared Lord Jagannath as a body made of dull matter, and you compared Lord Chaitanya as a soul entering that body or soul of that matter. So you compare Lord Chaitanya as some soul. He is Param Brahma. So you are Sarvanas. And then third he says, Areka Kariyacha Parama Prama Deha Dehi Bheda Ishware Koila Para. And you have made another great offense, that you have separated body of the Lord and the soul of the Lord. There is no difference between the body and the soul. The soul and body, everything is same. Satchidananda Vigraha. So in this way, Swarup Damodar, when he said, all the people, immediately the idea bulb started glowing and there was effulgence. Everyone again clapped. Swarup Damodar ki jai. Swarup Damodar ki jai. And this man, Bengali poet, got so offended, he became like a duck in front of all the swans. And then this famous verse comes in Antelila, which all of you should remember. Jah Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavira Sthane Ekanta Asraya Kara Chaitanya Charane. This is a very, very, very famous verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita Antelila, quoted by Srila Prabhupada again and again in many of the lectures. Jaha Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavera Sthane. First we need to read Bhagavatam from a Vaishnava, from the Acharyas. Ekanta Ashraya Kara Chaitanya Charane. Take shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By how? By taking shelter of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanyara Bhakta Ganira Nityakara Sangha Tabeta Janiva Siddhanta Samudra Taranga. Only when you associate with the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, you will be able to understand the waves of the different philosophical explanation about Lord Krishna. Tabeta Panditya Tomar Haiva Safala Krishnera Swarupa Lila Varniva Nirmal. Then your Panditya, your intelligence will not be the intelligence like foolish child. It will be intelligence of the intelligent person. And now in 2 verses, Swarup Damodar will explain this Sanskrit verse in his way. We will read. Just see how the same verse, how Swarup Damodar will explain. So what this poet explained, Jagannath is dull matter, Lord Chaitanya is moving, and because he is moving, that's why he has made whole Puri and whole world very enlivened, right? So now Swarup Damodar is telling, Sakala samsari lokera karite uddha Gaura jangama rupe kailavata. So Swarup Damodar is telling the same Lord Jagannath, Jai Krishna, say God, say Jagannath. Same Jagannath has come as Jangama Jagannath. There is Thavara Jangam, there is Thavara Param Brahma, and there is Jangama Param Brahma. Matlab traveling Lord. One is staying Lord and then the traveling Lord. So Gaura has come, the same Jagannath has come who is a traveling Lord. Now why a traveling Lord is required if the static Lord is there? Jagannathera darashane khandaye samsar. You fool, you have described Jagannath as dull matter, but just by taking darshan of Jagannath, who is Param Brahma, khandaye samsar, your entire samsar bandhan will be disentangled. Sabadesara sabaloko nareya siva. But the problem is, because Jagannath stays in Puri, people from Russia, people from this place, that place cannot come. And that's why Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu dese dese jai. Sabaloke nistarila jangama brahma hoy. But the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Jangama Brahma who is going around and purifying the entire India and sending Srila Prabhupada and purifying the entire world. So in this way, Swarup Damodar used the same verse to explain it in the proper way. But the verse in essence speaks aparadh about Lord Chaitanya. And the ignorant child like all of us like all of you read the verse. When I read the verse, sahi to bola, kya gadbad hai isme? But we are all ignorant. We don't understand the rasabhas and everything, right? And this is the third level, and the higher level is a immature child. So it's an ignorant child like this. Now this person, Bengali poet, when he understood like this from Swarup Damodar, he became a constant associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He stayed in Jagannath Puri for the rest of his life and associated with Lord Chaitanya's devotees. And then higher than that is an immature child. So ignorant child is one who understands spiritual subject matter in a wrong way, but immature child is, we will read the story of an immature child. Advaita Acharya had a secretary called Kamalakant Vishwas. I don't know how many of you know about him. Kamalakant Vishwas. So in Odisha and Bengal, the surnames are given in terms of the service you have to the society. In Odisha, surnames are given according to the service to the Lord Jagannath. Like one surname is Khuntia. Khuntia matlab, khunta matlab pole. Khuntia matlab, he will stand like a pole as a security guard without sleeping. As the security guard of Lord Chaitanya. I see the security guard, they sleep. They're like a bent tree. So Khuntia matlab, Khuntia, who stands like a pole to guard the temple of Jagannath. In Odisha, all the surnames are related to the service of Lord Jagannath. In Bengal, the surnames are related to service to the society, like Sarakhel, Similarly, this is, what is this? Biswas. Biswas are basically secretaries. Secret maintaining secretary, Viswas, confidential. So Kamalakanta Vishwas was the secretary of Advaita Acharya. Kaviraj Goswami writes, Kamalakanta Vishwasa Nama Acharya Kinkar Acharya Vyavahara Sabha Tahara Gochor. So he was the confidential associate of Advaita Acharya. Now I told previously that we have to become an associate of the Lord to understand the Lord. Now we are describing about an associate of the Lord, Kamalakant Vishwas. He was a very confidential associate of Advaita Acharya, so much so that he knew all the secrets. Secretary means one who keeps secrets. So he knew all the secrets of Advaita Acharya. So Madhavendra Puri had many disciples. One of the disciples, sannyasi disciple, was Paramananda Puri. I hope all of you would have gone in Jagannath Puri Yatra. You have seen the Paramananda Puri well near Lokanath Mandir, right? So Paramananda Puri was a very dear disciple of Madhavendra Puri, whom Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met in South India and told him, I'm going to Puri, you also come and stay with me. And Paramananda Puri comes to Jagannath Puri. But on his way, he came to Santipur and he wanted some assistant, like sannyasi wants some servant. So Advaita Acharya said, Mera best servant, my secretary, you take my secretary, right? And he will also have nice time with you. So Kamalakanta Vishwas travels with Paramananda Puri to Jagannath Puri to meet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Kamalakanta Vishwas, he comes and stays with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He goes and visits and sees or witnesses all the pastimes. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives him a lot of love and care because he is very dear to Advaita Acharya. One day, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu somewhere got a letter. Somewhere that letter was supposed to be given to Pratap Rudra. Nitai Srila Prabhupada. So this letter was supposed to be given to Pratap Rudra, but it came in the hand of Lord Chaitanya. I don't know how, that is not mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And that letter contained that the letter was written to Pratap Rudra Maharaj, and Kamalakanta Vishwas has written that letter. And he writes, do you know Pratap Rudra? Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of the Vishnu. He is Mahavishnu himself. So first part of the letter, Kamalakanta Vishwas establishes Advaita as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the next part of the letter, Kamalakanta Vishwas says, And do you know, Pratap Rudra, that Supreme Lord has got a debt of 300 rupees. And I request you to liquidate that debt by giving some donation. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu read that letter to Pratap Rudra, he became so wild. So wild. He said, Prabhu, Acharya re sthapiyache kariya Ishwar. This person, he has established Acharya, Advaita Acharya as the Supreme Lord. Ithe dosa nahi Acharya daivate Ishwar. And there is no fault in this, because he is Ishwar. Ishwarere dainya kari kariyache bhiksha. And on behalf of Ishwara, he is asking donation, right? Ateva danda kari karaiva siksha. I will give him suitable punishment. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Govinda and said, Prabhu kahe bauliya aiche kahe kar. So Lord Chaitanya said, this is a foolish baul. Kamalakant is a foolish baul. In Bengal, baul means baya. In Odia, it is called baya. In Bengal, it is called baul. Baul, baya means screwdhila in Hindi. So, he's pagal, he's an immature servant. You know how immature servant are. Prabhupada gives story of that king who had said, don't, anyone comes, cut, he had a monkey servant. Anyone comes, cut the person. He gave a sword to the monkey and said, मैं सोने जा रहा हूँ, बहुत दिन से सोया नहीं हूँ. I'll sleep. And anyone comes, cut him. Then the fly came. And fly sat on the nose of the king. Anyone comes, cut it. And he cut the nose. So, this is the immature servant. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became so angry and said that I don't want to see the face of Kamalakant Viswas. And Kamalakant Viswas was completely broken-hearted. He was crying and crying. Then Advaita Acharya came to know. And Advaita Acharya went to Kamalakant and said, Hare, you are so fortunate. I didn't got that mercy that you are getting. I had to plan to get chastisement of Lord. And then Advaita Acharya said, do you remember? I had planned like this. And speaking Yoga Vasistha, Saririka Bhasya. Then Lord Chaitanya came and he was punishing me. But without doing any planning, by Daiva you got. So you should be more happy. Then Advaita Acharya saying like this, went to Lord Chaitanya and said, you gave more mercy to my secretary than me. Then Lord Chaitanya said, how? Now you bet me, but you didn't reject me. But my secretary, you rejected him, becoming so angry. So you became more angry on my secretary. And that's why you have given him more mercy. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started smiling and called again Kamalakant and said, you foolish person, you have established Advaita as the Supreme Lord and you are asking donation on behalf of Daridra's Advaita. How this Narayan can be Daridra? Right? So in this way, if we may have taken shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we may have taken shelter, but we need to understand at any point of time we can behave immaturely. And that's why we need constant guidance from the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We should not think that I have now understood everything and we may behave like Kamalakant Viswas. Right? He has taken shelter of Advaita Acharya. He is a constant associate of Advaita Acharya. He knows the philosophy that Advaita Acharya is the Supreme Lord, but he is behaving in such a immature way. And that's how we need to understand that we should always take shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees constantly and become an intelligent child like Achyutananda. Advaita Acharya had the eldest son like Achyutananda. Achyutananda, one time when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, all of you know the story, he came to Advaita Acharya's bhavan and then came to Jagannath Puri. When he came to Advaita Acharya's house, Achyutananda was 5 years old boy. And he was completely naked. And he was playing like these boys and girls are playing. And they would be he was completely drenched in sand, Raj. And then he came running when Lord Chaitanya came and fell at his feet. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took that naked Achyutananda and put him on his lap. And then Lord Chaitanya said, all of you recite, Prabhu bole, Achyuta Acharya Moro Pita. Lord Chaitanya said, you know Achyuta? Your father Advaita Acharya is also like my father. Se sambandhe tomai amai dui bhrata. And in that connection, both of us are like brothers. And you see Achyutananda what he's telling. Achyuta bolena tumi daive jiva sakha. Achyutananda said, oh Lord, you are the Lord. And because you are the Lord, you are friend of all living entity. Sabakar bapa tumi ei bede lekha. Both of us are not brothers. Rather, you are father of my father also. Baper bap. Right? Don't say that my father is you are son of my father. Rather, you are father of my father also. Like that. And Lord Chaitanya said, wow, this small boy speaks what philosophy? And all people were impressed by Achyutananda. Later on, one day, in the house of Advaita Acharya, one person came and he had a question. And the question was, who is Keshav Bharati and what is his relationship with Lord Chaitanya? And then Advaita Acharya said, Keshav Bharati is the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya. And Achyutananda was playing like these kids outside, completely naked and filled with dust and sand. He came running to the house, shouted at Advaita Acharya, telling, oh father, you have lost all intelligence and behaving like a child. The child is telling Advaita, his father, you are behaving like a child. Don't you know that Krishna is Jagat Guru and Lord Chaitanya is the same Krishna incarnated in Kali Yuga as the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And how can you say that he can have any spiritual master? He is the spiritual master of everyone. And Advaita Acharya picked up Achyutananda and said, you are father, I am your son. So by the association of the Lord, even an ignorant child, Balopi, we can understand the depths of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Rath Yatra is coming, I'll just end in 5 minutes. We see that this Rath Yatra festival has been celebrated from the beginning of the creation, from Satyuga. And from the beginning of the creation, people understood this Rath Yatra festival as an outing of Lord Jagannath because he wants to go for an outing because he was sick for so many days. He wants to go for a relaxation. But it's only so many Satyugas after Satyugas have passed. Manvantaras have passed. And people were thinking, and this Rath Yatra is written in Skanda Puran, such a old festival started by Indradyumna. And from that time, people were thinking, just Lord was sick and going for a bihar. He wants to relax. But it's only when Lord Chaitanya came and in the Rath Yatra, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited a duet song between a girl and a boy. Everyone was wondering, what is this? And Lord Chaitanya was telling, Tumi ami, ami tumi. This atmosphere is not romantic. Let us go to the lonely river bank under the Betsi tree where you and me will be alone. And people were wondering what is happening. No one was able to understand the duet song that Lord Chaitanya was singing in front of Jagannath except Swarup Damodar. Or even all other confidential associates of Lord could not understand. And because Rupa Goswami was blessed by Lord Chaitanya, he also understood, apart from Swarup Damodar. But he wrote the verse Lord Chaitanya was giving in a Sanket form like Radharani, to me, Ami, because it's Parakya Ras. But Rupa Goswami gave the explanation in a more explicit way, where Radharani is telling Ami, I am Radha and you are Krishna, and this Kurukshetra is not. So, from that verse, and now, after even you ask a second year kindergarten student in ISKCON, what is Rath Yatra? He will say Jagannath goes to Vrindavan. But we must understand this knowledge that we are speaking so boldly, that Jagannath is going to Vrindavan, Krishna is going to Vrindavan, was completely confidential and was offered only by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similarly, for time immemorial, people were thinking that why Jagannath looks like this? Because Indradyumna opened the door much earlier. That was the conception of people, why Jagannath looks like this. But it's only Lord Chaitanya who came and said about Mahabhav. And ISKCON devotees, new devotees, they speak about Mahabhav of Radha as if it is like a child getting Mahabhav about ice cream. That is how we describe Mahabhav. We don't understand what is Mahabhav. We read and we recite. Nitai Gauranga ki jai Srila Prabhupada. We read and recite from the books of Srila Prabhupada and speak about Mahabhav as if it's some craving for ice cream like a child is having. Mahabhav is very, very esoteric, very, very esoteric. We can't even understand what it is. Forget about experiencing it and forget about understanding who is experiencing it. So in this way, we must understand whatever we are able to speak out in a very intellectual manner, not even having realization. We are speaking Mahabhav, Jagannath, Vrindavan, this, that, so many things in an intellectual way. That also is only by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which was unavailable even to the people of other yugas. Only Lord Chaitanya has given it. And that's how we must understand that it's only by Lord Chaitanya's mercy we may understand these principles. So we will recite one verse which I read on this Thursday, written by Raghunath Das Goswami, will end. So all of you repeat. This is a very beautiful verse which I came across about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaura Satcharita Mrita Nidhi. Okay, I'll cut it short. Gaura Satcharita Mrita Nidhi Gauram Sadaiva Stute Gaurena Prathitam Rahasya Bhajanam Gauraya Sarvam Dade Gauradasti Kripalu Atra Naparo Gaurasya Bhrityo Bhavam Gaure Gauravam Acharami Bhagavan Gaura Prabhu Rakshama. So Raghunath Das Goswami has written this beautiful verse telling this is in the same. This verse has the same meter like Krishna, on Krishna and Ramachandra. This verse in the same chanda is also there. And Raghunath Das Goswami has written in the same chanda on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is telling, Gaurena Prathitam Rahasya Bhajanam Gauraya Sarvam Dadev. Only by the mercy of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, the Rahasyam of Bhajanam, whatever Rahasya we are hearing, which was unavailable for so many kalpas together, is now available. Gaurad Dadet. By mercy of Gaura, we have got it. Gaurad Asti Kripalu Atra Naparo. That's why beyond Gaura, there is no other Kripalu. Because he is offering something which was not offered for kalpas together. Gaura Vrityo Bhavan. I want to just become servant of Gaura. And the last line is very important. Gaure Gauravam Acharami. I should behave in such a way that would bring Gauravam, pride in the heart of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaure Gauravam Acharami Bhagavan Gaurav Prabhu Rakshama. Oh Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, protect me, protect my consciousness in such a way that I always exemplify and I always behave in such a way that keeps the respectability of you, what you have presented to all of us. Gaure Gauravam Acharami. Let us, and we see Srila Prabhupada, how he exemplified this principle, that he actually presented the principles as it is of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he behaved in such a way that brought respectability to Lord Chaitanya's movement. Lord Chaitanya's movement had no respectability because of the Sahajiyas, but Lord Chaitanya's movement, which is the highest, most munificent Lord, his respectability was brought in again back by Srila Prabhupada, not just in India and Bengal, but all throughout the world. So Lord, I was remembering about Srila Prabhupada, Gaure Gauravam Acharami Bhagavan. That how we should behave in such a way that we have got such a wonderful Lord Chaitanya who has explained to us bhakti in such a confidential way. And that's how we should really behave in such a way that bring respectability to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Jagannath Swami ki, Shri Rath Yatra Mahamahoschav ki, Srila Prabhupada ke, Nitai Gaur Premanande.